Testing. Okay, it's 9 a.m. We'll start our community of the whole meeting, and it'll catch up when she gets here. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council Chambers. This is a regularly scheduled committee of the whole meeting working session. We'll call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. The time is 9 a.m. Under appearances, item 1 is Matt Reed from SCH to review the resolution for waiver of municipal consent for the Trunk Highway 53 and 9th Street intersection improvements in the city of Virginia. It's state project number 6918-105. Good morning, Matt.
Morning. In your packet, there is a resolution for that. So just a little bit of background. I believe this council has already, maybe except for Councilor Skalko being new, have seen the plans, and actually I believe we've gone through it in fairly good detail on what MnDOT's doing over at the intersection of 9th Street North and Highway 53. Part of their process, legally part of their process is they need to involve the cities that are, if it involves their, potentially affects them and their traffic. And so that process is called municipal consent. In this case, municipal consent can take a while. It's a process. There's an administrative process that MnDOT has to go through, public hearings, things like that. In cases like this where we've been involved in it really from the beginning, the council's already seen it, I've been involved in it, Jim Rospit's been involved in it, they've taken our input. They don't have to run through the full municipal consent process if the city is willing to waive the municipal consent process. And that's a common thing in instances where we've been involved heavily in the design and been kept up to speed. And it just saves them the administrative time, the administrative costs, and just the potential for further delay. They currently have their plans at about 90%. They're looking to let the project in October coming up here. It's a little bit of time yet. There's a lot of steps that they still have to get through. And then they're planning on construction hopefully starting in the spring of 2027. So what they had asked us for is because we've been involved, if we'd be willing to check that box for them, waive the municipal consent. And based on everything that we've been involved in, that would be my recommendation that we do so.
I will move the resolution of the waiver.
Support.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the waiver of resolution and supported by Councilor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Paulson.
Thank you. So Matt, does this circumvent any potential community input? I can't see anybody really giving any input because of the location of this project, but does that circumvent that?
I guess the short answer is yes, but they really aren't changing anything on our side of the In fact, if anything, they're making it better. That if you remember the changes, that sweeping right turn coming off of 53, that's going away, and that's quite frankly not a real safe thing. So it eliminates a public hearing, but it really isn't changing much out there. So
For transparency's sake, do you think, Matt, it says that it's on file, the Minnesota Department of Transportation office in Duluth. Do you think that's something that maybe we could link to from our website?
we could, yeah.
Just to put it out there that we've been, we're keeping the public in the loop of what we're doing.
Yep, we could do that for
be
sure.
okay?
Yep.
Okay, all right, thank you,
Yep.
Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Paulson has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Move to item 2 on agenda finance. Item finance on number 2, discuss the allocation of funds received for city projects. Okay, well then we'll hold that in abeyance and move to item number 3 is the appropriation of the $1.2 million transfer to the sewer fund. Our finance director is not here. Britt is not here. Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if we want to keep those, we want to discuss those when Britt is back in the meeting,
Sure.
but I do have significant discussion on both of those items.
Okay,
and-
we'll hold that in abeyance
Okay.
until our city administrator comes back. I would imagine the same with number 4. review the profit and loss information for the Event Center for 2025. So we'll hold those three things for discussion until our city administrator gets back into the room. So we'll move down to Personnel Committee meeting that was held on January 16th. I'm sorry, Paul, thank you. Thank you. Building and Grounds, number 5, review the facility use agreement with Independent School District numbers 2909 for the city tennis facility.
I'll move to approve.
Counselor Paulson moves to approve this agreement. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Bachschnider. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Paulson.
Thank you. I would just like to thank our Park and Rec Director, Brian, for negotiating this, and I don't know if the board members were a part of this as well, but I just want to say thank you to those members that worked on this agreement.
So it was moved and supported to approve the Tennis for All facilities agreement. Counselor Paulson wishes to thank you for all your hard work and the board members who participated in this. So it has been moved and supported to approve. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Now the Personnel Committee was held on January 16th, not 2206, but 2026, okay? We'll move that change. Okay, so now this was, interviews were held up here in the committee room by the Personnel Committee, which is a chairperson, which is Counselor Paulson, and other members, Counselor Beyondich and Counselor Bachschnider. Did you want to go through this, or would you like me to do so? All right, thank you. Number 6 under personnel, appoint James Makowski to the Public Utilities Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, appoint Garrison Hale to the Public Utilities Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Bachschnider. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, appoint Mary McReynolds to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Paulson supports. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, appoint a new commissioner, Teresa Geiselman, to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Beyondich. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Skelko. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Number 10, appoint Julie Simic to the Virginia Economic Development Association, or VEDA, for a 6-year term ending ending December 31st, 2031.
Moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Paulson. Is there support? By Counselor Bachschnider. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, appoint Carly Gobats to the Park and Rec Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Motley. Is there support? By Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, appoint Jean Blevins to the Library Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Paulson. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, appoint Jan Peplinchak to the Library Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Beyondich. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 14, appoint Brandy Huddleston. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. To a Human Rights Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Skelko. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, a review the proposed plan for the custodial and maintenance service for various city buildings. And personnel, do you have information about that? Counselor Paulson?
Thank you. I think we were just still discussing this. I
Okay.
don't think we were
Okay,
bringing this forward. So,
just
I don't-
reviewing it at this time?
yeah, just reviewing it, and I think everyone's gonna come back together, I think, a personnel committee of the whole, right? Or do you have something to add?
Council Paulson, I think we were going to make a motion officially at this meeting regarding the procedure.
And what was the recommendation?
Counselor Bachschnider?
Thank you. If I recall, some of the discussions that we had around the custodial and maintenance services, this primarily landed in creating a new budget area for custodial and maintenance services. So instead of having that be at City Hall individually, library individually, et cetera, that there would just be one budget line for custodial and maintenance services. And then looking at how we want to approach the new public safety building and some options around that. And I believe some of the options we had discussed was hiring a full-time staff, looking at posting an RFP and contracting that out. We talked about the community service officers and including in their job descriptions the custodial piece of the new public safety building, so sweeping, mopping, things like that. And then looking at our existing staff to see who has the proper boiler licenses. And then Britt, I believe we received an email as well that there's a class coming up in February in Mountain Iron to get that proper boiler license, so potentially sending some additional employees back for that training. And if needing to make any adjustments to wage while getting that. So I think that was the discussion, and then I think that you guys were going to kind of report back on any recommendations based on research that you had done in the last, and yesterday was a holiday for you guys. So I don't know if the motion that we're looking for at this point is to just direct city staff to continue the research and come forward with a recommendation do we think Tuesday's council meeting is an appropriate time, or bring it back to a committee of the whole?
Probably the committee of the whole would be more appropriate.
Okay, so I would make that motion then to direct city staff to continue researching the proposed plan for custodial and maintenance services for various city buildings and report back at the next committee of the whole meeting on recommendations.
Thank you. Motion by Counselor Bachschnider. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Let's go back up to item number 2. Britt, you had some information regarding item 2 is to discuss the allocation of funds received for city projects.
Yes, when Megan called me this morning to let me know that she wasn't going to be able to make this meeting, I did ask her to send a short little note to us explaining upon multiple meetings with the auditor and Councilor Paulson, thank you. We did have the discussion regarding the plan to allocate project funds is the city will receive the funds and allocate the funds to the applicable project fund. If the funds are received from a debt issuance bond, the debt will be allocated to the debt service fund. If the funds should be allocated to multiple projects, the funds will be allocated to the main project and adjusted to the other project at year end as the projects are reconciled.
As you were talking about that, just to go back, was it you, Counselor Bachschnider, that made the motion with respect to the custodial maintenance service, and it was supported by Counselor Paulson, correct? Who supported that? Yes, Counselor Paulson, yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
that's correct.
Thank you, okay. We'll go back to item 2. Counselor Paulson.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and I think, thanks to Megan for sending this email, but I am not in agreement with this, especially item B. If the funds are to be allocated to multiple projects, the funds will be allocated to the main project and adjusted to the other project at year end as the projects are reconciled. No. Well, when we had talked with the auditor, he had said that so we had one bond. It was the 2025, I think it was the A bond we were talking about in the office, or was it B? A. And A had 4 projects under that bond. And what we've been doing is we invest some of the money into the 4M account. Then we let it grow a little interest. We pull the money out, and then this is specifically with the $1.2 million transfer. In that one resolution, we said up to $3 million. Now, we took out $1.2 million from the 4M investment account. We approved up to $3 million. I still don't know where the rest of that, if we pulled the whole amount, okay? But this is not a good way to do these resolutions. So when we are pulling from the 4M investment account, I want specific resolutions, and I shouldn't say I think it would be best practice to have specific resolutions where those funds are going to be allocated. And it shouldn't be an amount up to, it should be the specific amount. And when that comes forward to pull the money from the investment account, we should have a direct reference as to any expenditures made. But those expenditures should follow the project. So each project, so on 2025A, we had 4 projects. I would create, what would you call it, a general ledger account number?
Project fund is what we.
Okay, a project fund account number, and then allocate those dollars to, however the bond, we went out for one bond, and I can't remember, was it 9 million? 9? And then because what's happening is then we're investing it, we're pulling it, and we're putting it into like the sewer fund or sanitary waste fund. And then we're transferring it at the end of the year out to the project. And I feel the auditor said that probably isn't the best practice way of doing it, that we should allocate the funds to the project and only utilize it in that capacity. So when we put the money in, I don't know, Britt, who manages our investment account? Like who do we get reports? Like, like what I'm saying, like, so we'll take a portion, of the USDA, I don't know how much went into that for the public safety, because we weren't using it until the contractors did the work.
Right.
So we put that to gain some interest in the investment fund. Who tells us how can I say this in the right way? So some of it was socked away from the public safety. Some might have been socked away for a street project. Some might have been socked away for a culvert project.
Right.
Who helps us, tells us when we've put certain monies in from different projects into the forum investment account to gain a little interest? Who keeps track of that?
This was a unique one because we usually don't have this many projects under one bond.
I
but
know.
I do
We
know that
normally
the
don't.
4M fund usually earmarks them for whatever they are. So like if you look at our investment statement, it'll say sewer fund, OPEB, because they tell us what they're for. And I don't know what they did with the 2025A. I was not involved heavily in that one.
Yep.
So I don't know how they earmarked that one, but I definitely can find out. But we need to rely on the 4M fund to do that, to tell us
Yep.
where they are.
So if we could have that kind of a reporting.
Yeah, definitely.
Incongruent with the project itself.
And might I suggest that we do have an investment policy, maybe we update it to state this, that you will, when you do the resolution, it will dictate where it's gonna go into the.
Yep.
Into the city account. It's going to have direct attachment to it as an exhibit of what expenses have been paid out of that are being reimbursed. It's going to have
Exactly.
these kind of things. Maybe, we haven't updated it in a very long time, so it'd probably be a good time
Okay,
to update that. Anyway.
that makes sense to me. Then at the end of the year, because what took so long this last audit was and I don't know if it's called a transfer in, transfer out, or a due to, due from. And I think it's some of it was transfers and some of it was due to.
Yep.
So I really want to clean that up. So then at the end of the year, it's really like, okay, here's your projects, give it to the auditor, and then we're not going and allocating it into one of our enterprise fund accounts and then transferring that back to pay the project cost.
Right.
So I feel like that comes under number 2 and number 3.
Yes, yep.
So do you guys want to maybe come up, but I don't agree with, and I'm not trying to put
No,
Megan
that's
on the
okay.
spot. I just feel like that makes it very confusing still at the end of the year for the auditor, as well as for us to make decisions and understanding how and where money is being moved. So if we just allocate the project fund, and then create the project fund, allocate the dollars. When we're investing the dollars, I would really like to know which project that is.
Right, right.
Let them know, and then have a report that comes forward from the 4M account, what the dollars were that were per project, and then when we're pulling those, how much we're pulling, and it's going then directly into that project account. And I know that's kind of squirrely language, but
That's good.
I feel like that's the direction we really need to go on this. And then in regards to the $1.2 million transfer to the sewer fund, when we met with the auditor, there was only, because that's when you had sent that whole string of emails, there was only, I think, $368,000 worth of receipt expenditures. Do we have further receipts? And if we don't, Britt, what do we need to do without, like 1.2 million minus the 368? What do we need to do with the balance of that if it doesn't belong in the sewer fund? Because that was that was bond proceeds.
Right, and the dollar amount we took out there was receipts for that dollar amount. It got put into the sewer fund erroneously. And so in your packet, we do show you that it was transferred out in November after we met with the auditors, out of the sewer fund into the project fund where it belonged. Just like you mentioned, it should go to the project fund, not the sewer fund. It went back to the project fund.
But I mean, I can understand if the sewer fund paid for part of that expense, then you need to reimburse the sewer fund. But so then.
They also moved all those invoices that paid from the sewer fund back to the project fund to clean it up too.
Oh, you
So-
did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all been cleaned.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That clarifies in my mind. But then this council did not approve another transfer of 1.2 million from the sewer fund to the project.
Right.
We need to probably do that.
That would probably be,
Are you going to reflect that as
we'll probably reflect that maybe we'll even update the resolution that we did for that transfer. We'll figure out.
because we need, and then I really want to I want to have to approve any and all transfers, because I know we weren't doing that for a couple of years.
Right.
So could you get the exact total, and then that could go to the council? Do I need to make a motion for that?
Yeah, please do, yeah. And then also, if you could also make a motion that we'd update the policy, the investment policy.
Okay,
too.
so I think the first motion I'll make is to direct city staff to update
The investment
the
policy.
investment policy. How about, do we want to tack on to that, like, it's not just the investment policy, but it's the allocation of funds? Like, do we have we're basically creating a new process.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that another motion?
I think honestly, you can put it in the same one because it would be referencing the same type of funding. So if you let me think about that for a minute. So go ahead and do this one for investment policy. Let me think about that for a second.
Okay, so update the investment policy
Yep.
would be the first
To
one.
include that we're going to
To the include,
specify in the resolution where the account is going to be deposited, where the funds are going, which project fund. and then attach an exact report showing much money we're taking out of each time we do the drawdown.
So that would, to include the allocation of funds, and it would include receipts
Yep.
or expenditures,
Correct,
documentation.
correct.
Okay.
Support for discussion.
You get that motion, then you're good with that motion by Counselor Paulson, supported by Counselor Bachschnider. Further discussion, Counselor Bachschnider.
Thank you, Mayor. I do think that this can be all within one policy, but just like a subsection within the policy. I don't think it needs to be a separate one. But I agree with the direction that you're going, and I also want to see all of the work that you've mentioned. So thank you.
Okay, so it has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? And that would include item 2 and 3, correct? Kind of part of that process?
I think we need to make,
Just number 2, okay, moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? A hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Counselor Paulson?
okay, then I feel like the next one, what should the next one be then?
We want to add as a subsection to the investment policy, Counselor Bachschnider, do you think, or would that?
I think in the motion that if you decide while doing, I think in the previous motion, if you decide while doing the work, if that's not the direction to go, then you could just decide to take it a different direction and explain at the time. Like, we're directing city staff to do the work. So if you end up having a different recommendation, that's fine at the time. But I don't know if we need to call out any separate work. It feels like it's all encompassing. But then if your recommendation ends up being different, that's also fine, and we still have to formally approve anything.
Right.
Okay, so then the next thing would be discussing the appropriation of transfers. And I do feel that the council needs to vote to approve all transfers. So that would be, so should I direct city staff to are we creating a policy on that?
Can we review the policy and make sure, like we were earlier, review the policy to see if we have it, and if we don't, make sure it's added
Okay.
to something or created somehow?
So the motion would be direct city staff to either review an existing policy on transfer, on appropriation and approval of transfers,
Or create?
or create a new policy.
Support.
Moved by Counselor Paulson. You get that motion, Pam? And supported by Counselor Bachschnider. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Paulson.
And the last final thing is, when we do the transfers, if we could consider if you guys can consider that the transfer amount is an exact amount and not an up to amount, and that those receipts correlate with that, or the reasoning behind it. Okay, thank you.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Finance item, Pam?
Thank you. Just as a recommendation, Britt and I had discussed this process. And if you look at the state guidelines on their funds, they don't always recommend issuing a fund number for every project, as your fund numbers can be extremely large, which I think we do have here right now. So basically, your project fund is usually a 175. And then in the project fund, you can allocate the next number for every project. And then your receipts and disbursements would follow that, which you have already set up. So you're not having a huge chart of accounts that you have to go through for every fund. You would just have a project fund, and then within the project fund, you can run any project in that fund if you needed a report.
Okay, motion and support. Is there any further discussion? We did already, so you just added that as an afterthought?
I was just.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, move to item 4, review the profit and loss information on the event center for 2025. We did discuss this briefly at the finance meeting this morning. Brian, we are at the part of our committee of the whole meeting where we're discussing the profit and loss of the event center. Thank you. Counselor Paulson?
Mayor, so I appreciate having the balance sheet, but it's not quite as detailed as what I was looking for, like a profit and loss. So when we look at the under liabilities due to other funds, $3,722,429.10. Like, that's a huge number, and what is that?
That's what it owes the general fund from the day they opened.
Okay. So that's a cumulative
Correct.
number. And then total liabilities and equity. So what this is saying is that we are still negative $620,413.67. And that is after the $985,000 allocation from the MEC fund to the ITMEC on top of.
It does not have the receivables that are still pending from 25 in yet.
Okay. So what I would like to see, and I know we've asked this and I know a motion has been made and it was passed, that any activity that takes place there, that we receive that breakdown of the cost. And I know like it's put in like special event expense and then special event revenue. But if we could look and see, these are the things that the city would be doing,
Events that we would be hosting.
that we would be hosting, to see if they are successful or not.
Right.
And if it's something that we want to repeat or to eliminate. So I don't know if we could get a little bit, and I don't know if I'm asking more of a targeted approach for a P&L. And then regarding the concession stands, so we don't do that anymore. And we have a projection of what kind of revenue we're going to see, like a percentage of that. What kind of reporting are we going to get from Boomtown that is actually happening? Like, I feel like, because we requested pretty much any other entity that we've had, the golf course, I mean, we've requested, well, not the golf course, but the Humane Society, I mean, we have requested these things in the past. So I want to just make sure that we start off on the correct foot in 2026 with that. And the other thing that I would like to discuss about that is when these events are taking place and the caterer or event person is hosting the event, they are not cleaning up after themselves. Was that, Brian, in the contract? Because then our city staff are being paid overtime to come in and clean up after an event took place by one of the caterers.
We have provisions in our contract.
Can you repeat that and put it on this microphone?
Brian? Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. I do believe we have provisions in our standard lease agreements or standard agreements for cleaning in the condition that things would be left.
Okay, because according to what I've been hearing is that they are, is this correct, Britt? That our city staff are being pulled to come and clean up after an event, and we are paying overtime for that to happen.
Brian?
There have been several times that that there has been an event that the customer has brought in a caterer, and then the kitchen has not been left to our standards, and we have had to go in and clean up the kitchen. Yes, that is not the case with our concession stand operator. This would be, because at the event center, if you are renting the space, you can choose any caterer.
Correct.
We do have a $200 kitchen fee that we charge to people when they have an outside caterer coming in. So in the event that they don't leave the kitchen clean to our standards, that we have generated some revenue to cover the cost of our staff going in and cleaning the kitchen.
So these are the kind of reports that I would like to see, so that whatever our policy is or whatever our contract is, and whether it's the concession stand contract, do we have a contract that when they sign and they rent the facility, that would be within the contract to clean up after themselves?
Yes.
And if they do not do that and we're pulling staff in, are we charging them further than what their deposit is if it's overtime?
We have not been at this point, no.
Okay, so those are, Brian, that's probably an important report that I think we should see so we can determine, because if we're continuously paying staff overtime to come in after events,
And it's not a continuous paying staff to clean up after events. It is here and there
Okay.
that happens.
and that here and there adds up.
Yes.
So I feel like we need to maybe get a little bit better at that. If there needs to be charges assessed, I think we need to do that. So I don't know what we would like to do on that. And then if it is, if there, without saying anything, I will refrain from using any names, but I would really like that to be reviewed and possibly letters sent out if that is the case. But back to this, I feel like that I would like a little bit more communication in the financial side of that. You know, when we're pulling overtime, what is the overtime for? I've seen quite a lot of overtime happening, and I want to know the process on that as well. Like, it's according to AFSCME contract, or because they're part-time rec assistants? How does that overtime work, Brian?
Overtime really is only for full-time staff. Our part-time rec assistants don't get overtime unless, of course, they end up working more than 8 hours in a day.
So when we see that overtime accumulating in, you know, different months, you'll see it jump up a little bit. That's for full-time staff. So would it be safe to say that then rec assistant staff are unavailable and then we're pulling in our full-time staff to cover that?
No?
No?
I mean, normally overtime is offered to fill full-time roles that are empty in that day, either due to vacation, sick leave, or events that are coming in.
So when I've heard that people are coming back in to clean up, and then I'm looking at overtime, maybe I'm not looking at that correctly?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you are looking at. We have rec assistants
We get the
scheduled.
overtime sent to us, like, we see the overtime. So when I see that, and now you just said it's only full-time employees, so we must be calling in do you know if because you've been over there now for a while. Are we calling in full-time employees?
Not to clean. They're calling them in when they're down, when their staff is on vacation, sick, we're down to one employee as a utility worker. If there's a game going on, oftentimes there's 2 sheets of ice need to be made, so you can't have one person in 2 spots at the same time. So we need people to come in.
Yeah, like this past Saturday, we had a custodial worker on overtime because the person who was normally scheduled to work that shift took the day off. So offered overtime to the other custodian to fill in because Saturday was a busy day.
And I get that, like, I'm just concerned, I feel like one of the things we could minimize expense-wise is overtime, and how we could maybe manage that differently. Is there a way to manage that differently?
We've already trimmed back our overtime. I mean, we do supplement building operations with part-time staff as much as possible. However, remember, our part-time rec assistants can't drive a Zamboni. They physically don't know how to. And there are many times, many instances that we will need 2 Zamboni operators on at the same time because we need to be running 2 Zambonis at the same time. So we have to have 2 people on shift. You'll also see a lot of overtime occurring on the weekends with our utility workers for that reason, because with 6 utility workers on staff, you cannot operate the building with their schedules and have two on shift all the time. So the rotation does have some gaps in it. And when we have a tournament or when we are hosting games and we see that, hey, there is going to be 2 sheets of ice that need to be made at the same time, we do have to offer overtime. Now, rather than offering overtime for the entire shift, we are looking and going, well, when is the first occurrence that 2 sheets are going to need to be made at the same time? And that's when we start the overtime at, is what the needs are for the building.
Okay, thanks for that. And then, so I guess what I'm looking at as we're talking about this, review the profit and loss information on the event center. And I guess my final point is with the Standard & Poor's, with the S&P report, we really need to understand this. We need to get a hold of it and we need to minimize it, or our credit rating is still going to remain or even decrease. So I'm not sure what kind of ideas, and I know you're there.
Yeah,
You're
and
going to
I do
start
have
to be
some
there.
ideas that I will bring forward as soon as I be able to fully develop them. I've only been going there almost 3 days total this month so far, but I think we can do things better, and we will do things better. And I have some ideas. The staff, I've been meeting with the staff. They're excited to do things different. They're excited for things to happen. So I think it's going to be going in a good direction
Okay.
very soon here.
And then maybe if you could bring that back to the
Definitely.
next committee of the whole, and
Definitely.
we could review that.
Yep.
The other thing, do we need to review scheduling?
Nope, I'm taking over scheduling as of February 1st.
Okay, so you are doing all scheduling.
I will be doing
That was my
scheduling.
next note.
Yep, Brian does the utility worker. They do it a year out, don't you? The utility worker scheduling? Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I think I got my questions answered, and I know we're going to continue to work on this. I just feel like the more information that we have, the better decisions we can all make together. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Paulson. But before I go to Counselor Skelko, Brian, did you have a comment you'd like to make or a little direction here?
Thanks, Mayor. It's a long call back, but when we were talking about the cleanliness issues at the ITMEC, like I said, I was looking for our standard catering contract. I didn't have it immediately available. My recollection is there is cleaning provisions. One of the other provisions we could add to give those a little bit of teeth is we could track it, and when the condition is not satisfactory where it's left, we could track those, and after a certain number, we could disqualify a caterer from providing service at the building for a period of time, say after 2, you could say after 2 events where it's not clean to our specifications, they're disqualified for a month or 2 months, and then generally expand that as those occurrences are within a certain time frame, like a year.
Thank you, Brian. Counselor Skelko.
Okay, I got lost there, so let's get back. That was a lot coming in. You said $200 is that a fee you charge everybody? Like the caterings, you said, there was something about $200. I had a good question, then it got lost.
So if you are renting at the building.
Yes.
Essentially, it is an à la carte menu that you are picking from. I want to rent this room, I want to add on linens, I want to add on coffee service, and I want to add on, I have a caterer that is coming in to cater my event, so I'm going to add on the kitchen. That's when we charge that $200 kitchen fee to somebody, is when they have a caterer that is coming in to cater and will use the kitchen.
And that $200, have we looked, does that cover, in the event they don't clean it up to our standards, we have to bring someone in, is that $200 cover it? Or is that, do we not know this? Sometimes it's 200, sometimes it's 500.
More than, for the most part, yes, it does cover our additional cost of the cleaning. A lot of times, we will use our staff that is already in the building to do that cleaning. We don't call somebody in to clean.
Then you were saying Zamboni drivers, there's a problem with Zamboni drivers. Part-timers don't drive the Zambonis, some do, some don't. How does that?
No, part-timers do not drive the Zamboni.
Why, I guess? Is there a reason? Is it hard to, I've never drove a Zamboni, I'd like to, but.
They've not been trained. 2, that's not in their job description.
Okay.
To do that.
Just a thought, I mean, why not train everybody who works there to drive a Zamboni? So in the event that we have these situations, which I see a lot there, I live at the MEC. Why can't everybody who works there drive the Zamboni is my question, I guess.
That would be something that we would need to discuss with our unions.
Yeah, just a thought process to save money and have more people available to do and I know how busy it is, and you guys do a great job. So that's one area I can attest to. And then maybe this isn't, lastly, sorry, I'm gonna keep going here, but what are we doing right now to sell ads? Like, just a real rundown, I'm new, I don't know what's going on exactly, but I know we have the etching, and that's a couple $100 a year, that's $18,000 a year if we can get everybody to all the spots filled, which is great, but what else is going on, and do we have access to knowing what's going on? Because I know this is a hot topic in the city, and the MEC is costing a lot of money.
As far as what advertising opportunities are at the building?
Are there other opportunities other than the etched glassing right now? Are we looking at banners? Are we looking at different, like, what are we doing, or what, and maybe this is everybody knows and except for me, but I'm just trying to catch up with everybody, I guess.
I'm going to try and go off of memory here because I don't have anything in front of me, and I'll try and start with the lowest dollar amount, working my way up. There is the etched glass in both arenas that you can do. There are dasher boards in both arenas that you can do. We also have had on our flyers for several years now that nobody has taken advantage of, flagpole banners for out in the parking lot. Then we move up in price to the different naming rights that we have. Currently, we still do have naming rights available for the mezzanine and the fitness center. As you know, we have the U.S. Steel lobby, that's the main lobby. We have the Iron Trail Toyota Arena, the Iron Trail Chevy Arena, and the Minnesota Power Ballroom. In addition, there are still naming rights available for the ballroom and meeting rooms.
Okay.
So there are still some naming right possibilities out there that can generate some revenue. It's just finding that company that is interested in pursuing those.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilor Skalko. Okay, any more on item number 3, the review of the profit and loss information at the event center for 2025? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to Councilor Paulson.
Thank you. I'm just wondering if we could keep that as a line item until we get kind of rolling on it, and then it'll be like just natural. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to Councilor Motley.
Oh, yeah, just a quick question. So the Laurentian Chamber of Commerce booked the annual gala this past 2025. I'm just curious, did we make anything on that? Was it, or I've got a text from a taxpayer here. Original date.
Wanted to know if we what is the profit or the loss or on the Laurentian Chamber Annual Gala. And it comes from an email that Councilor Motley just received.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Jim. Jim Hunt, our Operations Director for the Arlington Memorial Event Center. Welcome, Jim.
Thanks, Mayor. I don't know the exact, I think that we don't have an estimate on the cost of getting it done. And I don't recall what the invoice said. I think it was right there at about $4,500, but I'd have to double check that.
For profit?
It is for what we invoiced Laurentian Chamber.
Okay, do you think we made a profit on that? I'm just curious.
I think it was very close to break even.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for that kind of event, we typically will do okay. We'll be on the plus side.
Okay.
Not greatly, but yes, that event's a lot of work for certain.
Okay, and then were they booked with us for 2026?
I do not know the answer to that yet.
No, they do try to move around. They're going to Fortune Bay in 26 and plan to come back with us, I believe, in 27.
Did they give a reason as to why they weren't coming back to the ITMEC?
They have to spread around to their other chamber members.
Oh, but we get it the very next year after, so that's not
Usually,
spreading
yes.
too much.
Usually, yeah. They try to spread it around. There's nobody that really has a big enough space besides us in Fortune Bay.
Oh, gotcha.
Same with their golf outing. They do the same thing at the golf. They move it around to different golf events,
Okay,
golf courses too.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on our item 3, the review of the profit and loss information on the event center for 2025? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to other items of concern. Item number 16, discuss the resolution regarding the city council insurance benefits. Counselor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. So I know we had brought this up, and I don't know if any city staff, if you've maybe reviewed anything, or, so I'm ready to kind of get into the meat and potatoes if we all want. My concern is the council members that are operating under whatever policies we have in place. So I would like to include, I don't know if that's 1 or 2 or a family member of one, or what that might look like, but I would like us to be mindful having the discussion, and maybe maybe it would just be honoring their ability to purchase from the city's health insurance. Because I don't know, Britt, is that with retirees the same thing? Or are we
yeah.
paying for that regardless? Those lifetime benefits?
Yeah, yep. Yes, we are paying for, we have some staff that we pay lifetime benefits for, it's been phased out for a long time, but we do have some that are
So
still on
that
it.
really wouldn't,
Impact them.
right,
But
okay.
those that, like you mentioned, council members that have the ability to still purchase from us, that's a great point. We should
Like, I
recognize
feel like
that.
that's important, that we need
It
to
is.
address that.
Yes,
And
yep.
be mindful of those that are still doing that. And
Yep.
I would be in favor of allowing them to continue to do that. I actually would be in favor of allowing any council member, after it's sunsetted, to, I think what's on the books now, Pam, is what, that they can purchase the insurance up to the years of service that they sat on the council, is that correct? Is that in here? Sorry.
It was,
Okay, and I think I would be, I don't know what everyone else feels, but I mean, if it's not costing the city any money, I don't mind that. I don't know what anyone else feels like. And then I think that sunsetting with the elected term would be very, very appropriate to save money. But the other part of that, I've had a few people approach me too, is compensation. So I feel like we probably would need to create a higher compensation for council members when the sunset happens. Can that be done simultaneously? And then that would not take into effect until 2027. So I feel like there's still some key parts to review. But I feel like as long as those parts are touched on, maybe review other communities that are similar, what they get paid for. Not that I feel like we need a raise, but the incentive, there was an incentive regarding, with the healthcare. And some of the comments that I have had is that you're taking away an incentive for someone to actually step up and run, because the compensation isn't great if they are missing out on their job, their key job responsibility. Not that I want to add an expense to a budget, but I think it would be very, very minimal. But I would be, I guess, so keep in mind the past counselors, family members, potentially allowing that current resolution to stay on the books. Is that an ordinance or a resolution?
resolution.
Resolution, that you can pay for it on your own, and then it doesn't impact past counselors. And that really doesn't impact the budget of the city at all, correct? So I would be fine with that. And then I would just say sunsetting as each group terms out. That would be my recommendation. I don't know what others feel.
Thank you, Counselor Paulson. Counselor Motley?
I would have to agree with most of everything you said, Counselor Paulson. counselors that were elected knowing they had the ability to get insurance. So I'm fine with those who have been elected, if they want to carry out the insurance until their term is over, I'm fine with that. And just to the public, that doesn't affect me at all because my term ends this year. So me supporting other counselors, if they want to keep the insurance till their term is expired, is just fine. But if, it does appear, and it has been in the years I've been on the council, having insurance as a counselor is a huge benefit, and the insurance here is untouchable into anything I've ever had. But if counselors that have a couple more years left elected to not receive the insurance, like obviously that would be their own decision. As far as compensation, I do want to thank you for actually bringing that up, because as a full-time and then some working person, taxpayer, it's a big sacrifice financially to be here and represent the taxpayers as best as I can. And so, dropping the insurance, I'm all for. I'll be done at the end of this, 2026. But a couple $100 a month representing the taxpayers does not even come close to the amount of money I have lost. And I'm not here to make a profit. It's just we've got to be respectful of the taxpayers' money, and we do need to, in my opinion, for those that won't be receiving insurance next year or whatever, increase the compensation piece, whatever form that may look like. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Motley. Anything else? We'll look for some additional discussion with respect to this and honing the policy and the resolution moving forward. So we'll get that accomplished soon. Okay, thank you. Item 17, discuss the CTC proposal for renewal of service contract for internet and voice services. Move to approve by Councilor Bachschnider. Is there support? Was it just, I thought you said so moved. Disregard that, take the stricken from the record. Don't pay attention to the audience. The mayor misheard. Okay, let's, I apologize. Let's discuss this, okay? Councilor Bachschnider.
I do have one. The only question I have is this a budgeted expense? And is it in alignment with our current budget? Is it more expensive to go to?
Less than we expected.
Then so move, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Bachschnider. I was ahead of myself. Thank you. Moved by Councilor Bachschnider. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion?
If I can explain just really briefly, for many years, I believe it's 15 or 20 years, we've had a contract with Northeast Service Co-op for the dark fiber. You may have heard that a long time ago when we had the fiber placed in our ground. We paid for that. That contract has expired. We're done now. We paid for it. It's all done. And so now it happened at a great time that CTC is taking over all those contracts. And so because we are going to go to full internet service with CTC, it reduces our phone bill. So it's a good thing. And we, in the end, annually, we'll be spending less money per year for this. So
Can we add cable services to that line?
I wish. Maybe in the future, hopefully, something will happen. But
I'm only joking.
yeah, so no, it's a good thing. And our contract was actually up in November. They've thankfully worked with us as we worked through these things. Because one of the problems we've been having is that all the internet, the way we worked with Northeast Service Co-op is all the internet comes from the city hall and goes out to the buildings. So if city hall power goes down, they all lose their internet. We're going to be changing that, thankfully, with CTC's help. And so that's why that $1,800 cost with a one-time cost that's what that's for. But that'll be a huge improvement, especially for the Ironton Motors Event Center, who functions on a 24/7, 365 operation. Whereas at City Hall, if it goes down on a Saturday, we don't even know the power went out. They do, because the internet went out. So it'll be helpful when they're not reliant on us for internet anymore. So it's a really good thing, and I really appreciate CTC working with us to get a good plan in place.
Okay, thank you. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to give a shout out to CTC, and I think they're just a really professional company, and I really thank them for putting all the time and energy and effort into the city of Virginia for upgrades with fiber optics. And I know the plan is to continue to move forward, and I just want to say thank you for being a great community partner.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Paulson has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item, item 19, I'm seeing item 18 is approve the memorandum of understanding with Minnesota North College and the Virginia Police Department. And is this reference to the firearms training facility as well?
Pam has that in.
Pam?
Hello.
Hello.
No, this is just a renewal of the contract regarding safety at the
I just wanted,
college with the
I
police
just wanted that clarification because we have our new system coming up and running, so, thank you. Counsel?
So move.
Move to approve by Counselor Bachschnider and supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries, thank you. Item 19, closed session to review the amendment for the lease with Copper Nickel Restaurant Real Estate discussions as pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05 Subdivision 3, and item 20, closed meeting for the property negotiations for the sale of land, parcel ID 090-0030-036960. And this meeting can be closed pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05 Subdivision 3, Paragraph 1. Looking for motion to move to closed session.
So move.
Mayor, before we go to closed session, I do have one item that we could bring up.
Okay,
quick
let's go.
before- The 2026 bonding bill language.
Yes.
That we got brought up. I did get a question from one of the council members, so I did prepare some information.
Okay. Thank you. And this is the stuff that we're looking for in collaboration with Mike Jarek. We did put this in a revisor bill for the Senate House File 973. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Just wanted to clarify that, Mary, you can definitely help, because I know you know this a lot better than I do. The 2024 bonding bill request is still in play. The two bills are still there. The Senate House file and the Senate file and the House file are in your packet that I just handed out. That's for City Hall, the City Hall upgrades. If they were magically to give us this funding from somewhere, it would be a year before we actually get to access the funding, so it wouldn't be till next year. So we would hope that we get to use that for windows and use the steam conversion as the match to that portion of this project if we somehow get that money. I know because we put it in '24 and there was no bonding bill, nothing happened, it just keeps rolling.
Yep, it does, yep.
Yep. And so then
We actually added in 2 years.
2 years, yep. So the 2026 request, we had made in June 2025, the Sixth Avenue infrastructure improvement as our #1 request for the 2026 bonding bill. So that's the language I emailed to you guys that Mike Jarek was looking for to make sure that was correct, was the 26. But please remember the 24 is in there, and there's very different funds. Buildings are not often the same as infrastructure. Two different funds that the state does. If you think of infrastructure, think of MnDOT. That's where that would normally come through, where the building would come through, like MMB, the Materials Management Office. So two different paths. Could very well happen that we get both. You never know. It would be nice, but could happen. But I just want to make sure that everybody understands that both of them are still in play. We're still working on 24 and 26 requests.
And just to add to that, we did get a question from Senator Farnsworth regarding this, right?
Yes.
And you're wondering what happened to the $80 million that came from the dissolution of the agreement with Xcel Energy Center. And he didn't have the facts associated with that, so we're going to provide him with those. That how much did Hibbing get, how much did we get, where the money was spent, and so the Department of Public Utilities will be providing that breakdown and how that works out. So we'll have that money, that information for Senator Farnsworth and our Iron Range delegation and those down in the metro area, particularly those who are chairing these different committees. Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. So I had reached out when Britt sent the email regarding from Jarek and Associates and if we wanted to package that up. And I appreciate you giving me the information, or giving all of us information, and that it's 2 separate tracks, which is great. However, I have a question. And the question is, what we're asking for, in fact, I have this right here, legislative priority 4 million, right on my notes. Okay. So on the 4 million that we're asking for, Britt, is there some sort of requirement that, like, say we were to wonderfully get the money, is there a requirement that we have to put in X amount of dollars with that?
You look at the language, it's usually by language. So let me look what Jarek had proposed.
We do have to make some contribution.
Yeah.
We have to provide some funding. They're not going to fund the entire project without the city having some other investment.
How much?
It doesn't say. So that's a good thing. Because like if you go back to the miners project, the money we got from the miners was as long as we were able to complete phase 1. So left it vague. And it looks like, Jarek, like this was no match listed here, so there will be something, but if as long as it's on a dollar amount that ties us to it, it just has to prove usually that you have enough money to finish the project, whatever the project is.
Okay, so it,
And it was written that way
Yes.
so that we would be tied into a specific
and
dollar
I
amount.
really do appreciate that, but I would like to have further discussion on this, and I know Matt's not here, I had a discussion with Matt regarding the scale and scope of this specific project. And I would like to actually scale the project down way differently and wait until the public utilities has the money to do the demo of the plant. Keep the lines underneath the plant, have them warm the basement, keep that heated for the water line so they don't freeze. But I will not vote to go forward to redo storm and sanitary on 6th Avenue. And even if we have to create a Brownsfield, however you say that, Brownfield,
Yep.
whatever, and make that as green space, because I feel like Matt said that nobody would be able to build on it if we did not remove that. And maybe you could do something with the lake, or you build a little kayak shelter that's off of those lines, like not a part of those lines. But to relocate all of those, I don't feel that that's necessary, to dig up 6th, relocate, and then we already had all the residents here, the building owners here, and some of those assessments were $50,000 per property. One of them, I think, was $80,000. These people cannot afford those assessments. So I would like to scale the project way down, and if we got 4 million, maybe we could afford 1 more million.
That's exactly,
City
yeah. And
could.
when I wrote the bonding request, I actually used the demolition as the match.
Yep.
So that, it wasn't even our money that was gonna match it, it was gonna be theirs. So,
That, I think that would be excellent.
Yeah.
And then we would scale from a 10 million to
To a 4.
the 4.
Or-
That
yeah.
would be my preference in how we do this going forward, because we truly cannot, I mean, not only the bonding, we don't have that capability, in my opinion, because that's direct debt levy, number one. Number two is those assessments are way too high for those property owners. So I appreciate you explaining this and bringing this forward, and I thank you and Jarek for being like mindful and going for this.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we did have the discussion both together and then separately with the Jarek and Associates and with a couple of the legislatures. So the issue is, we should ask for that $4 million regardless. And because, and if we do magically get that money, and we're not going to be allocated till the following year, so we'll be moving forward with that. Counselor Johnson.
I just would like to point out that several professionals who understand, and it's their life to look at utilities and so on and so forth, have recommended we move forward with this project as it is. I think this would be another case of, we don't want to deal with it now, let somebody else deal with it, and I don't think that's an appropriate use of our resources at this time. We are in the position we are in right now with several other projects because things have been put off to be dealt with later. So at this time, as we move forward, I will be continuing to support what our professionals and designers and engineering and everybody else has said is the best way to move forward, especially when it comes to the sewer lines that are not just needing to be moved for convenience, but because they are literally crumbling underneath that building and will lead to an emergency in which we don't have the option of bidding, we don't have the option of planning, it will have to be solved immediately at great expense. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Johnson. Anyone else? Okay, we have the information. Thank you, Britt, for that. And we'll be in more conversation with our lobbyists as the legislative session gets rolling. Okay, so anything else before we move, and other items can be moved into closed session? So I did read that publicly. You're looking for a motion to move into closed session for item 19 and 20.
Moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Beyondis. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Bachschnider. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Does anyone need a break? Take a quick break and then, thank you, then we'll begin.